I would argue, and this may sound a bit counterintuitive, the education system is working. We hear folks say, and I teach a graduate level education history course I have for 28, almost 30 years now. And we harp on the current status of education. But in one sense, I'm thinking of a professor from Notre Dame who said, actually, it's running on all cylinders. Education is working as those who devised it want it to work. And that is, young folks are being brainwashed. They're now devoid of any understanding of the past. In this presentation that I put together on historical revisionism, I was looking at the trends over time, even the standards that were set for U.S. history. And no longer is Paul Revere mentioned. No longer are the students learning about Nathan Hale. But they're getting multiple mentions of Joseph McCarthy. They're learning all about some of these modern rock star musicians. One paragraph for George Washington, but some of these rock musicians, one of whom I'm thinking of committed suicide or died of an overdose, Jimi Hendrix, gets a two-page spread in a history text, a U.S. history text. So there's been such a shift away from the fundamentals, the ideas. These young folk going out and marching in parades today really don't have any foundation from which to work, and they're just being used. But I think at the very core of it, Josh, there is a group, no doubt empowered by Satan himself, whose goal it is to destroy our past so that they can impose their future on us. And scripture says that there'll come a day when folks will believe a lie, they'll be deceived, and we know how that's going to play out. We're on the winning side, but in the meantime, there could be some rough sledding unless we take the time to put the brakes on. I'm convinced that if we help get this story out, if people become aware of the truth, that we can hold evil back. That's what it's about. I grew up on a farm, and I watched my dad sharpen the sickles and the scythes before we went out to do work. And you know what? A sharpened scythe works a whole lot better. So I feel like the Lord has called me to be a sharpener of scythes to prepare. The fields are white unto harvest. And we need young folks to go out and to commit their lives to service and all. So, in my capacity as a professor, instead of being out in the front lines like you are and others, my goal has been to train cohorts of yours to come alongside and to help carry the water, so to speak. And if I can help sharpen some sickles so folks are more effective in ministry, all the better. Well, Satan has his counterplan. He is sharpening sickles for those that are going to try to reap his grim harvest. And it's a battle between good and evil. We know in the end, good will win. In the meantime, we need to be prepared. And part of that is having a sense of these trends that are taking place. So, round the barn answer to your question, many folks are involved because they really think, hey, this is the thing to do, and they feel like they're part of this big wave, this big movement. But behind them is orchestration, planning. Things do not just happen. And I see this time and time again in my study of history. I teach a course in American 20th century history, which is my area of study. And one of the things we focus on there is the riots that were taking place in the 1960s and 70s, culminating in some of the things that happened there at the Ohio State, the university there in Ohio, where there were a couple of folks that were actually shot by the state guard. Well, the story behind that story is that there were organizers without a state license plate and all plates. They locked arms and they were pushing the crowd toward state guard and all. That's just one illustration there at Kent State of how there are provocateurs who are
Hmm.
looking to use these innocent people to forward their program. And remember this too, it's not original with me, but it's a good statement. Those who pull down statues won't stop at that. They'll want to pull you and me down too.